Assalamualaikum students. Today's lecture is about verbs. You must know what a verb is. Verbs are used as a part of a sentence to indicate the actions, processes, conditions, or state of beings of people or things. Verbs are basically the unit that comes in the middle of a sentence. Subject comes at the beginning, verb comes in the middle, and object comes at the end. Verbs are important or integral part of a sentence. When we talk about the structure of a sentence, they constitute the root of the predicate. If there is no verb, there would be no predicate. Predicate, we can say, is there when verb is there. So if you look at a sentence has two important and fundamental structural units. One is subject, another is predicate. So what is predicate? Predicate is the part of a sentence that starts with and that is the part of a sentence that starts right after the subject. So they form if you want to form a full clause or a sentence. A full means a complete clause or sentence. The sentence must have a subject and predicate. We cannot have a sentence without a verb. So verbs are, when we discuss verbs role in a predicate, we usually divide the role of a verb into two fundamental or basic categories. One is finite, another is non-finite. What are finite verbs? The predicate required at least one finite verb to be considered complete. Predicate cannot be complete without a finite verb. A finite verb has a direct relationship to the subject of a sentence or clause. It doesn't matter whether it is a sentence or a clause, but the finite verb should be there. A direct relationship between the subject and the verb should be established. So, if the sentence has one verb and it does not need another verb, if it does not need another verb to make it complete, then we can say that it has the finite verb. For example, if we say, I swim every day, here swim is the finite verb because we cannot use or need any other verb in order to make this sentence. She reads many books. This is also the same case. If the reads is the finite verb here, we cannot say that we need another verb. So finite verb has that integral or important role. So the next non-finite verb, what are non-finite verbs? On the other hand, do not express that relationship directly. They do not have to look at when we want to express the role of non-finite verbs. We do not express that relationship. The only verb that can be considered finite are those in their base form. Finite verbs are those that are used in their base form, are their past tense or third person singular form. Verbs forms that are never considered finite are gerunds. Gerunds means the verb when we connect ing with it. Infinitives and participles, both present and past. Let's look at different examples. For example, if I say we are learning about the American Revolution in school, this sentence uses the present continuous verb. And the present continuous verb, for example, are learning. This functions as a single unit. Are learning, we are using learning, and along with it we must use are learning. If we will remove are, then we cannot say that it is a complete sentence. This functions are learning has been used as a single unit. So our learning express most of the meaning. When we have to look at the sentence, then our focus mainly lies on our learning, which is the integral part of a sentence. Learning is a present participle which is considered a non-finite verb. Non-finite verb, how can you say it? Because by looking at first glance, glance, we say that it is a verb, but it is a non-finite verb. The finite verb, then if we say it is a non-finite verb, then a thought comes into our mind that where is the finite verb? So the finite verb of a sentence is actually the auxiliary verb a. It is an inflection of the verb be that is used for the person plural subject we. We have used we instead of as we have used we as a subject, and with it we have used are. So finite verb is basically are. So we can see the difference if we can use each verbs in isolation with the subject. With the subject. For example, you can see here we are, we are, or if we only say we learning. So which one gives us some complete sense? We are, we can see that the finite verb is finite because it expresses the direct relationship with the subject. So we are in a sentence, we are in the structure, if we say we are, it means that it has a are has a direct relationship with we subject. So are is finite verb, and it can go on to form any number of complete sentence. For example, we are tired, we are almost there, we are a large group. So we are is the right form of is the right form, and it can be considered as a finite verb. The second verb, that is learning, cannot make such sentence and is so not finite. The following example all requires a finite verb to correct. These are incorrect. For example, we learning math. So this sentence is incomplete. It needs a finite verb. Are we learning a lot? This is also incomplete. We are learning should be there. We are learning in school should be there instead of we learning in school. So then next category of verbs are transitive verbs and intransitive verbs. So first of all, there should you must know what is a transitive verb and what is intransitive verb. Every verb is classified or grouped as being either transitive or intransitive. Transitive verbs describe an action that is happening to someone or something. So, in transitive verbs, we mainly focus on the action that happens to someone or something. This person or thing is known as the direct object of the verb. So, this the unit that comes after the verb is either direct or indirect. For example, he is reading a book. So what is the structure? What are the structural units here? He is reading a book. The action of reading, and that is there in the form of reading, is in the form of verb. Reading is happening to the book. The people watched the game from the bleachers. The action of watched is happening to the game. I was eating a delicious steak of dinner last night. The action of eating is happening to a delicious steak. Transitive verb can also take indirect object, which are the people or the thing receiving the direct object. For instance, I sent my brother a letter. So I is subject, sent is verb, my brother is object, a letter, my brother is a direct object, a letter is indirect object. So you can here see that what are transitive verbs and what are intransitive verbs. Intransitive verbs, on the contrary, do not have objects. Their action is not happening to anyone or anything. For example, I can't believe our dog ran away. There is no object receiving the action of running away. There was a lot of dust in the air which made me sneeze. There is no object receiving the action of sneezing. And then don't be too loud while the baby sleeps. There is no object receiving the action of sleeps. So what are the next verbs that we are going to the category of verbs that we are going to discuss are regular verbs and irregular verbs. What are regular verbs? Most verbs are regular, which means they that d or ed can be added to their base form, the infinitive of a verb, without to conjugate both the past tense and the past participle form. For example, the base form of simple base form past simple tense past participle, for example, base form is there, I play a violin. When we say I play a violin, we are using the base form of a verb. The past participle tense of that verb is I played a violin. So the here you ed has been added with the base form, and I had played violin. Here also the ed has also been added in order to make it past participle. I bake cakes, I baked cakes, bake, these are the regular. They have been changed according to the regular pattern. I listened to my teacher, I listened to my teacher, and I had listened to my teacher. I gathered firewood, I gathered firewood, I had gathered firewood. I climbed trees, I climbed trees, and I climbed trees. They are sounding like a regular pattern of music. Then and the next category that we are going to discuss in terms of verbs are irregular verbs. What are irregular verbs? Irregular verbs, on the other hand, have past tense and past participle forms. They do not seem to adhere to a distinct or predictable pattern. There is a harmony in the change that you feel, in the change you make in the use of regular verbs. Here you don't need to go after that harmony, and don't go after a regular pattern or predictable pattern, and they are usually completely different from one another. One form is different, another form is different, another form is different. For example, if the base form is see, so the past participle form is saw, and the past simple tense is saw, or past participle form is seen. And here there are many irregular verbs, but here are also few common base. You can also grow, if the base form is grow, past simple tense form is grew, and past participle form is grown. I give birth to charity, and then I gave birth to charity, I had given birth to charity. Sing, sang, sung, swim, swam, and swam, drive, draw, and driven. You can here see the difference between them. So you can rightly know the different patterns that you have in mind, you should keep in mind while learning about verbs, what kind of form they can take, what kind of sense they can be used, and what their role play in a sentence when you are using it. I hope that you have understood it, and you will continue further. You will go ahead in the journey of learning with me.